want to apologize for starting late. Um, had a little hinge while preparing. So we'll go straight into what we have today. Um, so today we're supposed to talk about um, agricultural value chain, the new growth. You know, in my last live session, where I was hosted by Foundation, I was speaking a lot about these value chains, but I wasn't able to, you know, go deep um, into the subject matter because of the constraints of time. So I want to see how far and how fast we can go today. The other time I really wanted to talk about export, but I wasn't able to even near export because I had a couple of points to look at, but I was unable to um, get down to export and how people can key into these these value chains. It's one thing to um, list these things and turn that into practicalize how one can actually begin. It's not just about hearing it. It's also knowing where you can come in. So before the end of today's live session, I hope to adequately cover all this. So please give me a moment. I'm trying to get across to my notes so that we can have more precision on our discussion. So, but we can actually begin with understanding what agricultural value chains are. It's one thing to be in agriculture, and it's another thing to know that there are different aspects of what you do. Now, the value chains are not necessarily different parts of farming. It can actually be a particular kind of farming, but then you have different aspects where you can make money out of it. You have different aspects where people are actively engaging in to make returns. So whether you are producing poultry or you're producing cucumber or whatever it is you're producing, there's actually multiple sets of persons that reap from it. For poultry, for instance, you have people that rear the poultry from beginning to end and then go to the market and sell. There are some people that comes to um, uptake the whole poultry, um, the whole. They always come um, when the beds are ready. There's some people that come. Um, there's some people that actually even come before the poultry is ready, and then sometimes they buy for a lower price and all of that. So because it's not ready yet, and then you have people that you don't have to go to farm to the market to sell off. They come and offtake from you completely. So all these are actually what we call the value chain. Okay. So um, but before we actually go deep into this, I would like us to go through um, a historical background of agriculture in Nigeria. So, because we need to know where we're coming from, we actually need to know how agriculture has fared throughout um, the history of Nigeria. So, when it comes to agriculture in Nigeria, at some point between 1960 to 1967, we had agriculture to be the major source of income. We had its, you know, um, cover an average of 57% of the GDP, meaning that the major, more than half of the revenue um, coming into the economy was from agriculture. And then we had about 67% accounted for from foreign exchange. That's based on agriculture was the one, you know, um, these returns was from agriculture. So a major of our export, even within this period of time, was agricultural produce. So, but we had the discovery of oil that led to, a complete neglect of this particular sector. So, the beautiful thing is that the way um, agriculture, the way crude oil is the big deal now. That's how agriculture was. But then, you cannot compare the two because you just drill the ground and then there's oil already there. And then for agriculture, you have to till, you have to plant, you have to wait for months. So that was like fast money. Not necessarily because it gave more money than that. Do you know, do you know that even as it is now, if you calculate how much we import food, the amount of money that goes out on a yearly basis for importation of food, you will know that agriculture, when we decide to make it our thing, has a lot of potential in terms of the return that it can give. So in the early 2000s down to this very time, agriculture has dwindled to a little above 20% of what it contributes to the GDP. And then it's very wide because you have something that was giving us about 70, 57% going down to 23%, some years 25%, and the likes of it. So this is where we are coming from. We're coming from a point where agriculture was the real deal at some point, and right now it's no longer what it is. So, and we are trying to make some of these awareness available to everyone, so that we know that they are untapped. If this could be um, the major source of livelihood in Nigeria at some point, it also means that we can tap into this very aspect of the economy and make good money out of it. It might not be as fast as crude oil, but there are potentials in it. So, for the sake of clarification of focus, we would be focusing more on crop production. That's in the terms of talking about value chain. So we'll be talking about value chains more in the agricultural, the crop production sector because it covers the most of what we produce in Nigeria. About 90% of our agricultural produce in Nigeria is actually from crop production, right? So, and then fishery, forestry, animal production covers for just 10%. So I'll still touch animal production a bit, but we'll do more on um, crop production. So, like I was trying to explain before, agricultural value chain refers to the full range of activities and processes required to bring an agricultural produce from the farm to the final consumer, adding value to every step. So everything we do to bring food from the farm down to the final consumer is all those steps are your agricultural value chain, right? So, and then it's called value chain because it's actually a chain of activities, but then we refer to them as value chain because at each level there's a value we are providing, there's a value we are adding, right? So, I would like to delve into the different value chains that we have so that we can be able to exhaust everything we have and make the most of the time available to us. So, the first chain is the input supply. So this has to do with all the materials that is needed to begin production. So whether it's an animal production or crop production, you will have to get inputs to begin. For crop production, you need seeds, you need um, pesticides, you need um, fertilizers, and the likes of it. You need hoe, you need cutlass and all of that. All these inputs are things um, that somebody would have to provide for those people in production. If you're into fish production, for instance, you have to buy the feed that they will eat, the drugs that they take, and the likes of it, poultry and all of that. The same thing. Somebody sits down, to plan how he would meet the needs of these farmers and make money out of it. So you could actually decide to. So what I would do in this live session is each of these value chains that I mentioned, I will tell you how you can, um, key into it. I'll show you how you can be able to um, begin to make money from it. So for the input value chain, so like I said, they basically provide everything you need to um, produce, right? You get everything you need to produce from this very value chain. So they are like the right hand man of the farmer. So you have to have a shop, um, and also have the inputs. So, but then this is the thing: the world has become so modern. We have a lot of aid that ensures that we can get things done in more simpler ways. So you don't actually need to have a physical shop to be able to begin to sell inputs. So for some of us who might say, okay, I don't want to stress, I don't want to go to farm, I don't want to get involved. In fact, farming is risky and all of that. I understand business better. You can actually sell input. That's purely business. You can sell input, and you don't need to have a shop. You can actually, um, uh, sell online. So I know some agro stores that actually don't have any physical store. What they basically have, their online store. So all the pictures of the inputs they have, they upload it in their website, in their social media. Just show you things they need, and then it can be hybrid. You can also have a shop and still have an online store. But I'm saying, for if you feel you need a lot of money to start and it's not something you can do, then you think about it again. You can actually have an online store. You can come in here. It's just like people that do drop shipping of bags and shoes and all of that. You can actually have your online store. See, I feel like one of the problems we have as um, individuals is that we tend to regurgitate certain things, not wanting to find out opportunities out there. If you're into drop shipping, you can also, if you can do drop shipping, you can also sell inputs. You can also sell inputs. And then um, you can actually decide to sell these things during farming season, where most of the farmers get to want to produce and the likes of it. So there's there's uh, a lot of um, a lot of people go into farming, right? So you can actually drop ship in the sense that you can actually have um, someone that sells in wholesale. You get the picture. So right now you don't even need to have the product. You can actually get someone that has the um, that sells in wholesale. So you get the pictures and showcase it. The only input that is coming from you is good evening, David. I see you. So the only input that you are required to put in here is your advertising money, the money you need to advertise and show people that this is what you do. That's the only thing you are actually expected to do. So you don't have to have the store, you don't have to have the product, you don't have to pay for shop rent, you don't have to pay for anything other than your advert, and probably, in fact, even logistics. You don't even need to pay for logistics because um, the people that are buying from you can actually pay for the logistics. So this is the first value chain, inputs, the input value chain, and then we also have the uh, the producing or the production value chain. In this very part, this is where you have the farmers that farm, that cultivates both crops, whatever it is. But this is where the real farming activity happens. And I can tell you that this value chain is huge. The competition here is high, and then the risks involved too is also very high. So you can actually decide to begin to grow things. It mustn't be anything much, right? So I really want to take my time to tell you more on how you can start, where you can start from scratch, than educating you on this value chain. So for this production, I believe you should know what production is, just literally farming activities. Okay, so you don't actually need to have a lot of capital to go into farming. You can actually have low capital and start with um, uh, productions that make use of low capital. So of these um, you have a couple of these um, things you can produce. For instance, you can produce cassava. Now, cassava, you don't need much to go into cassava. Number one, you're not buying the stem, right? You're not buying the stem. You can just meet whoever is harvesting and get their stem. Most places, stems are for free. So uh, the only thing you'll be paying for is for labor, the people that will come and make ridges for you and plant, and probably the money you need to rent the land. You don't need to own the land. You can actually rent, not even lease, because within a year time you you'd harvest. So even when it comes to production, you can actually start with stuff that don't cost much. You can go into granite production. Granite does not cost so much to produce. But the point is, there is money in agriculture. You cannot afford to not be making something out of it. You can have your job, you can actually be doing your thing, and then just employ people that clear your farm, make ridges, and then plant your cassava, plant your granite, and there are a couple of crops that are cheap to start. For livestock production, you can actually go into snail production because snail is kind of a bit less expensive compared to poultry, fish, and the likes of it. So if you have passion, okay, say I don't want to go into crop production, I want to be more into the animal uh, production sector, you can actually decide to do snailry. So, and then you actually don't even need to be there, right? You can always employ people to do the work and then you do supervision. So, moving away from the production value chain, you have the aggregation and storage. So, you must have heard of post-harvest losses where farmers produce and when they're about to sell, they're unable to sell to people, they're unable to sell off everything they have. So their produce gets to spoil in their hands. So there are some people that um, yeah, okay, somebody is saying agriculture is lucrative for real, but it's knowledge based and capital intensive. So this is the point I'm trying to make, right? This is the point I'm trying to make. Actually, if you want to go into commercial production, right? Yes, it's capital intensive, fine. But this is why I'm talking about value chains, so that you know of the value chains that are less capital intensive and you know where you can come in from. The input, for instance, when I was talking about that, I'm answering David, I'm answering your comment on Facebook. I talked about input value chain, and I told you that um, you can actually decide to have um, an input store, right? And the input store, you don't even need to have a physical shop. You can actually drop ship, get um, a wholesaler, get their pictures, and then you advertise. The only thing you are paying for is advertisement so that people can get to know you sell this thing. And then they pay for the logistics. It's part of the what you charge them. So that is not capital intensive, right? And you make money from it. So, but I was saying that where capital is usually heavy is in the value chain of production. Mostly that is where capital, especially when you are doing commercial farming, it requires a lot of capital. And I told us that there are some crops you can actually decide to start producing that doesn't cost much. I talked about cassava and talked about cassava and then granules too is cheap to start. I think if you want to do
If you are unable to sell within 1 week, you can take it there, and then whenever a customer needs it, you take it out of there and sell. So it helps to save from post harvest losses. It's not a very popular thing currently in Nigeria. People are making money out of it. I think Farmer Samson Obole also has a storage facility. In fact, sometimes you might not understand why this is very important until it happens to you. You produce 3 hectares and they are able to sell only 1 hectare, and then you're unable to sell the remaining 2 hectares. So what do you do? This is where storage comes in. Somebody provides the machine, and then you just come and pay. You pay daily. It's just like a kuro. You pay daily. So that's that about the um, the storage sector. So we also have to talk about some other. Just a minute, please. Okay. So we also have to talk about other um, sectors, other value chains, and one of it is that's your processing. So this is another value chain that is very much not um, tapped into in the country, and then it makes us understand that uh, it's a potential for people. So you have things like tomatoes. That is, I hope you know that most of the tomato paste you consume, there's no tomatoes inside. I hope you know. So most of them, let me say 90% of them, are made from cornstarch, color, and some other things. So many of them actually not has nothing to do with tomato itself. Okay, so but tomato can be processed into dry as powdered tomatoes. You know, you can actually also process other produce like beans. You know, beans can be processed into flour, beans flour, and plantain. So you have people processing plantain into plantain flour. You have people processing um, cassava into different, and then this is one part, and then this is one part that I you just need to buy the materials. So I like to give us examples, something that you can actually relate with. So for instance, I think I saw somebody the other day that planted a few vegetables and put them in this takeaway plastic, the transparent one, put in tomatoes, onions, I think carrots or something, and sold to people, and it sold out within a short period of time. So you could just get if you buy. So you see, you can actually make money from here without even touching it. If you have an idea of transport and the transport industry, you can actually also make money in the agricultural sector because a transport line from Benue to I think the southwest, so farms and um, get um, the produce of farmers and thousand can make as much as 500,000 every week without owning a farm. No, you would have farm in the north, and the people that bring to the east are two different people. People that take it to Lagos are two different people. Many a times, the farmers don't even know that their produce is going to Lagos. Some of those farmers don't even know that their produce is going as far as Port Harcourt. Their own is the farm. The marketers go to their farms and tell them, okay, so I'm going to buy everything from you and then I'm going to sell it off for you. So how much is your cost price per unit? So they can tell you, okay, per unit is 1,000 naira. Because the farmer's price always goes so that uh, whoever is retailing can make profit. That is the main reason why farmers bring down their price so that they can have marketers come, but many people don't know. So they can have marketers come and carry it in bulk and sell off, right? Just like even your company, your production lines, they have their distributors, but in agriculture we call them marketers, right? So you collect per unit for 1,000 naira, and then you send it. Do you know that? Do you know that some of the veggies you buy that was imported from the north, you buy a kg for probably 2,000 naira, and then it was bought for David, you're welcome. Now, you're welcome back. So he said he lost to see them. So, um, but then you met us at a good place, David. So, sorry about that. So, some of these things you buy for 2,000, for instance, the marketers that sold to you bought it for 500 naira. It will shock you sometimes 200 naira. So they will now add the cost of transporting it and then put their own profit. So at the end of the day, what was sold for 400 naira finally sells for 2,000. So and I found Belgium, for instance. I have customers that they take as much as 1 ton right? One person is buying 1 ton, and then he has or she has the people that um, she's selling to, because she has aggregated them, told them, okay, you have pepper, you're going to bring it on Saturday, so you are going to, this is the amount, so I can sell pepper for 2,000 naira. And so, do you know that some places where marketers are even making more profit than us, the farmers? Yeah, even in poultry, the same those people that come to pack the whole thing, the they are the power of the marketer in this very scenario is their purchasing power. So because they are buying in bulk, we have to bring down the price for them. And then when they go out there, they can put any amount and make a huge amount of money. So this is how you can step in. This is how you can get into this value chain. You don't need to have 1 naira. Go to local markets. All these women that sell in the market, go to them and know what they need. Get to know who produces it. Get to know how much that they sell. Get to know how much the farmer is selling, and then know how to be the middleman. Simple. No, you don't need to do any other thing. This I just mentioned is all you need to do, and you'll be printing money every week. Every market, every Saturday, the market is always saturated because you see goods coming in. Because of the weekend, people have to enjoy their weekend and all of that. Marketers are the ones that are bringing it to the market. Market men will now sell. You don't need to own a farm to make money in hundreds of thousands. You can be a marketer and be making money. So, if you didn't hear anything I said today, if you didn't get anything I said, this one, hear it and get credit. It's one you can start today. You can start next week. Go look for farmers, get their price, look for the market women that sells it, be their middleman, and you thank me. This is where a lot of people are making money, even in petroleum, marketers of petroleum make huge returns because they buy, they import, and then when they are selling to the filling stations, the profit they make, they are not producing crude oil, they are not refinery, they are not doing anything. They are just taking from refineries, taking from exporters, and then bring it to filling stations, and they make huge money. Agriculture too is like that. It's huge. So that being said, then I will now go to the other. I'm really trying very hard to be fast enough so that I can talk about export. I really want to talk about export. Okay, I'm going to answer your question, please. I'm trying to rush. Yes, Latunde David, I will reply you. Okay, just give me a little time. Let me exhaust this. I'll answer your question. How to drop ship it. Alright, so I'm trying very hard for us um to get done so that I can talk about export. So the and then also apart from marketing, you can also go to supermarket. All the things you see in the supermarket is supplied by somebody, not necessarily the producers. We have marketers that take these things um, to the supermarkets. In fact, when we started doing a little of marketing, supermarkets were like one of the first most. Um, we're talking about agricultural value chains, and we've seen different value chains down to market. I think I was hammering on how to make money out of the marketing value chain. In all of what I've said today, I've tried to make it very clear to us that agriculture is quite cost intensive, capital intensive, but then there's always somewhere you can start from. So everybody that's in the agricultural sector that actually made or started with huge amounts of money, just to know where to come in and where strikes your interest and make the most out of it. So I've mentioned about seven value chains already, and then the last value chain is consumption, because irrespective of all the things that this food has gone through, it must be consumed by someone, whether it was packaged, whether it was marketed, whether it was processed, whether it was stored. The last person in the value chain is um, the consumer. So the consumer actually pays for the end produce and consumes it. So let me talk about export in Nigeria. That's that's the part I really wanted to get us to understand. So as it were in the country right now, there are a lot of produce that is in high demand abroad. In fact, the other day I saw how that Zobo, Zobo is in high demand in the Arab nations. During this fasting period, take beverages and certain sentiments attached to these beverages. And at the moment, um, Zobo is one of those beverages that is in high demand. Things like, in fact, see, virtually everything food is in um, demand for export. I saw something just this week. I've forgotten the name they call this thing, but it is where plantain and banana blossoms from. That's the fruits. There's this reddish pod where um, the um, where the fingers of plantain and banana comes out from. You see that very pod before it begins to fruit. If you cut it, it's actually a delicacy. I think it's in Malaysia or somewhere. Some of these, not Malaysia, I think some of these Spanish speaking countries, it's a high demand there. In fact, one of the things that blew my mind of recent time was when I discovered that corn cob, when you eat corn and you throw the um, you throw that's the empty cob, it that thing is exported. I saw that and it blew my mind. It really blew my mind because I mean in Nigeria it's waste product. If nobody uses for anything. Coconut back, when you peel the back of coconut is exported. So there are um different farm produce that are exported. Like high demand, very high demand right now abroad. And this is where I know a lot of these countries don't farm anymore, especially in large scale. So they depend on other countries to meet some of these food demands that they have. So these are few things, just two things I want you to take note of when you are talking about export. So maybe on a particular day we'll take our time and talk about export. But I'm trying to, like, the aim of talking about export today is to show you that there is actually potentials in agricultural export. I told us from the beginning of this live session that as of the 1960s to 1970s, agriculture accounted for 67% of export, right? So, and the demand in the international world has not changed. In fact, it has increased, right? But the problem here is that many times we don't even produce much. So, but there are some good examples that we can actually export. So, two things I want us to note is to know that um, each country we are exporting to has their own specifications. Like in the Europe, we have what they call the EU specification, the EU export standard. So all the countries in Europe they have specifications. They have the kind of pesticides that was used for them to accept the produce and a couple of things. So whenever you are thinking of exporting, you have to make sure that that plant was produced or the crop was produced as it was specified in their standard, right? And the second thing I want us to understand is that you also have buyers requirements. So apart from the general um, standard requirements, beyond regulatory, what's acceptable goods to be exported out of the country. And then you have to make sure, because you have excuse me, you have issues where people are trying to force um, or play tricks on their the people they're exporting to. Many a times your goods will be sent back when you try to cut corners or try to be smart with what the buyer requires. So when you're exporting, first thing you must make sure that what that you're exporting meets the standard, the general standard for the country that they're exporting. And they also have to make sure that the person you're buying from, you know the specifics of what they need, you know the requirements of how they want it to be, how they expect it to be. So if it's not what it is, even though it meets the standard, the general standard, you don't export. You look for buyers that meets or uh, that, that makes use of that the requirements you have. That's the kind of crop you have. So as, before the before you think of export, you have to, because and then another thing I want to also notice that there are some agencies that helps to make export easy. So, and as it is in the country right now, one of the good things you do for yourself is to partner with some of these agencies for a start. Afterwards, you can decide to um, do things differently. But you look out for these export agencies and partner with them. So, with this, I've come to the end of this very session. I think I've exhausted most of what I wanted to talk about. So, but somebody asked a question about how to drop ship inputs. So, first thing first, that's Olatunde David asked that question on Facebook. So, this is what this has to go about it. You have to look for big wholesale um, input stores. Sometimes I travel to other states to look for them. So you have a couple of them. You have the pictures of what they sell, the things that people normally buy. It's not everything you need to have, because you need to have the ones that are popular. Then when some of the farmers make certain ones, you can now ask the supplier he or she um if he or she um got the if he or she got what they are looking for, right? So you just have to get the popular ones first. Just get the popular ones, and then um, advertise. So I said the main thing you need is money for advertisement. So you also you just what's the name now? You just advertise, and then you already have all those pictures all over the price, and so you know how much you're going to put, and then you know how much you're telling the person for logistics, because you're not bearing the cost of logistics. The person that is buying will bear the cost of logistics, and then you know how much you're adding to make profit. You don't have to own a store. You don't have to uh, you don't have to own a store. You don't have to own goods. You can drop ship inputs and make money from the comfort of your house. So she goes against on Facebook saying, in the last video I wanted to ask that you talked more on how to be the middleman between farmers and market women, especially strategies and how build relationship with people. So I believe you're trying to ask how to go about marketing, how to be the middleman between farmers and market people. So like I said, it's quite simple, practical. Just go to the market, identify this market people, especially the market women that used to carry plenty goods. Ask them questions. You can ask them how much they are supplying, how much do people supply these things to them, where do they buy it from? Do your investigation. So what your investigation will help you do is to know the crops that they buy the most, the crop that is most expensive to them, all the price range. So your work now will not be to go and do you know you don't even need to go to any farm. You can actually go online, join um, Facebook groups. For instance, now if you wanna if the person you met buys cassava, for instance, You can go to Cassava Association of Nigeria. There are groups like that as cassava farmers. Just go there. And then farmers will always come and be advertising what they are doing. We just harvested 1 ton of cassava. Now, those people, you chat them up, verify that they are real. You must verify that they are real, right? Verify, and then you take from them. You collect what they have. Sometimes you don't need to have, you have to buy from them, right? But there are sometimes that when you have built trust with them, they can send the goods to them because they can sell the goods to you, send the goods to you because they need to sell off. They need to sell off as fast as possible. So they will send the goods to you, and then you give the market and collect money. In fact, as it is now, many of the farm produce we sell, we don't even send it until they send money, right? So if you tell the market woman, okay, I'm going to bring this, maybe for the first time she might not agree to send money first. You can decide to maybe get money from somewhere, buy the much you can. You can start. I know of people that started this business with just 20,000. So they just bought their 20,000. They just bought from farmers and went to go and sell, and then made their profit. The next week again, they go and buy instead of 10,000. Next time they buy 25,000. It was out of the profit of 30,000. They remove 5,000 to add back. Kept doing that thing, and some of them are. If you see what they are off taking right now, and sometimes when you build trust with the market to me, you can collect money from them, tell them that farmers don't really release goods soon. They need money first. They can send you all the money, they can send you pack payment. If they send you pack payment, you send pack payment to the farmer. Say, take this one first, send the goods. The farmer sends the goods. And then your work is just sometimes I have people that they don't even go to the to the market women. They will tell the farmer, don't write name on the way bill. Just give me driver's number. And then when the driver is when the person gets it, it's as if you are the one sending it to the person. So that's how you go about it, right? So you just get information from the market to know what they need, how much they buy it, and then definitely when you're starting, you have to use a competitive price, a price that is lower to get them. So when you get them, you also now start looking for farmers that produce that very good, and then over time you win their trust, and then you get from the farmers and sell to the market to and don't be doing that at some point. You don't have to go anywhere. You just in the comfort of your house. Just all you need to do is to be collecting calls, and you're making money every week without owning a farm. So I believe that I've exhausted most of what I want to talk about. I hope that you have seen one place or the other that you can come in and make money too without owning a farm, without producing. And I hope that you can put these things to practice. Thank you so much for your time. And I really apologize that the first class session was cut. We had to come back again to finish it. So thank you so much for your time. See you in the next 2 weeks.